afternoon, good morning, and good evening for friends in the many parts of the world. Welcome to iPITCH, the innovation competition of Helix 2021. I'm Carol, and my colleague Ilham. We will be your host for this session live from Jakarta.
Not only us today, Carol, we also have Wendy Wong, who is helping us to putting all of our discussion into our illustrations.
We're actually standing in the same room, but please be assured we maintain our physical distance and we follow the health protocol by taking the antigen test before the gathering.
Yeah, and thank you, Carol, and thank God we all tested negative. So welcome to iPITCH. As you know, this competition aims to provide an opportunity for innovators to promote their innovative ideas for solutions, especially to solve the problems of ASEAN member states in humanitarian logistics and in all long-run term to support the achievement of the disaster resilience ASEAN. The proposed innovative solutions cover 5 general topics of Helix, which are estimating and addressing needs, supply chain management, logistic preparedness, information technology and innovations labs, and also logistic capacity building.
Correct, Ilham. So we opened the call for ideas from March to April 2021. And after going through a very selective process, we selected 8 top ideas to be presented today.
Right, Carol. So let's give our audience a clue about the ideas that we will hear today. Can you go first, Carol?
Sure. So each of the ideas which will be presented today covers one or a combination of the topics previously mentioned. And the aim is to improve ASEAN's humanitarian logistics and supply chain management process.
Okay, the finalists will talk about
simulation of the logistics and supply chain management process, track and trace technology,
descriptive and predictive analysis to support aid distributions, evaluation system for humanitarian operations,
management and tracking of public and private donations, innovative relief items,
collecting beneficiaries' feedback and the role of the youth in the process.
And to add to the excitement, the competing teams are actually coming from different backgrounds. We have finalists from academic institutions, humanitarian organizations, and private sector.
Yes, before we proceed, we would like to express our appreciation to our main supporters today. The government of Japan that has generously supported Helix through Japan ASEAN Integration Fund or JAIF. We also would like to thank our supporting partners, Angin or Angel Investment Network Indonesia, Temasek Foundation, and UPS.
Our partners, along with ASDA Center and Vietnam Disaster Management Authority or VNDMA, and representatives from the ASEAN member states will be the judging panel for today's competition.
So Carol, can you share what are the criteria that we'll see for the ideas today?
Sure, Ilham. So we have a very esteemed panel of judges which will score the ideas based on 5 main criteria. They are fit for purpose, or whether the ideas actually answers the problem that we have in ASEAN region.
And also innovativeness, or whether the idea provides an original, creative yet feasible solutions.
Next is sustainability, or whether the ideas consider their ecological footprint and can be continuously useful.
And also scalability, or whether the idea has potential to be applied in many settings. And
the final criterion is the social pitch, which will be judged mainly from the presentation today. For this component, finalists should make sure that their presentation is clear and convincing.
All right, it's time for us that we are pleased to introduce to our lineup of judges. So today we have Mr. Lee Kwong-Tian, the Deputy Director of Science Technology and International Cooperation Department, VNDMA, as co-organizer of Helix.
Next, we have Colonel Wesley Ho, the Director of Logistics of the Singapore Civil Defense Force, as the co-chair of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management Working Group Preparedness, Response, and Recovery.
And also we have a Director Bernardo Revalioto Alejandro for the Director of Operations Service, the Office of Civil Defense of the Philippines as the representative of the DELSA Satellite Warehouse in the host country.
Next, we have Ms. Adelina Kamal, the Executive Director of the ASEAN Center as co-organizer of Helix.
And also, we have Ms. Sayuri Kakimoto, the Program Coordinator of the Japan ASEAN Integration Fund, or JAIF, as the main supporter of our DELSA project, and as well as the conduct of the Helix.
Next, we have Mr. Benedict Chong, the Executive Director of Temasek Foundation, as supporting partner of Helix.
And also, we have Mr. David Sokasing, the Managing Director of Angel Investment Network Indonesia, or ANGIN, as our supporting partners of the Helix.
Thank you, Ilham, and thank you for our judges for your support. We're excited to see brilliant ideas which will be presented today.
Wait, before that, Carol, we also have an exciting role for the audience. Now, audience can also support the finalists to win the Diamond Award or the Community Choice Award by casting your vote. After each of the pitch presentation, a vote poll will appear in your screen, and you will have 2 minutes to score the pitch from 1 to 5. And also finalists with the highest score will be the winner of the Community Choice Award.
Great, this is so exciting. Before we start the pitch, we would like to remind our judges to open the scoring form.
Now, let's have the competition begin.
Okay, Ilham. Do you like to play mobile games?
I think I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the mobile games actually I play a lot.
Okay, so we are going to invite our first finalist, the Logistics Institute Asia Pacific of the National University of Singapore, with their idea titled Disaster Relief Game. The team members of this team is Mr. Amir Yunus, Mr. Zaba bin Abdul Rahim, and Dr. Robert De Souza.
Now, we are pleased to give the floor to Mr. Amir Yunus. Mr. Yunus, you may share your screen to show your presentation.
Hi, thank you so much.
Just a reminder, you will have 4 minutes to pitch your idea. The stopwatch will appear in your screen.
Sure.
Let us know. Please share your presentation and let us know when you are ready. We will only start the stopwatch when you're ready for the pitch.
Sure. Can the host allow participants to share screen?
Yes.
Hi, I can't share my screen.
Okay, the counting will start as you speak.
Okay, just a sec. We are checking. Can we get help for Mr. Amir?
Hi, I can't share my screen.
Can you try that?
Okay. Would you mind to try again, Mr. Amir?
Hi, can everyone see?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see that.
Okay, that's great.
All right. We'll show the stopwatch counting down to 4 minutes. Please hold until the stopwatch is appearing.
Yeah, and the count will start as you speak.
Sure. Hi, my name is Amir, and I'm from the Logistics Institute Asia Pacific from the National University of Singapore. So here we are going to talk about the disaster relief game. So what is exactly the disaster relief game? The game is a digital single-player role-based simulation game with its main objective is to create awareness and understanding on the importance and complexity of supply chain management planning and execution for humanitarian crisis. So the purpose is to develop and provide a risk-free environment where players can evaluate and develop allocation plans, and the game will execute plan to simulate its effectiveness and resilience. The different disaster scenarios can also be simulated. Random emergency events will further test the player's ability to 1. Think quickly, but 2. React appropriately as well. So these are images of past implementations of the current prototype. So as you can see from the top left, we have already presented this to the Singapore Civil Defence Force as well for their training and development. So what are the future enhancements we have in line? Firstly, we intend to integrate artificial intelligence model into our suppliers and LSPs so that they have a dynamic interaction with the human player based on their own hidden objectives, as well as adjusting the cost of goods based on market demand. Secondly, we also intend to implement a multiplayer model so that actions made by one player will influence the outcomes and actions of other players in the same network. Local suppliers will be regional suppliers to other players, and players have the option to purchase locally or regionally depending on their unique needs and lead time. So how do we assess the players on their understanding? Firstly, we assess them on their resource planning and requirements gathering. So we will assess based on their needs assessment, procuring of resources, lead time, and distribution of the life-saving kits. Players are expected to have contingency plans should unforeseen events occur. Secondly, we also assess the players based on their needs assessment. During the planning phase, player will be given a list of essential items that are requested from survivors. Player will have to assess which supplier fulfill their needs and package the items into life-saving kits or LSKs. It is the player's responsibility to ensure the successful delivery of the LSKs to the affected areas using the limited available resources. Next, we'll also assess the player's contingency response. NGOs will highlight feedback from survivors, and the players will have to decide whether to continue or change their suppliers or their logistics service providers as well. The effectiveness of the LSK and the timeliness of the LSKs will determine the survival rate of the survivors. We'll also assess the players on their supply chain planning and management. So players may procure warehouses as distribution points to deliver and disseminate LSKs. The nearer the points are to disaster areas, the faster they are delivered. But too near to a disaster area may result in damage, such as looting from survivors or after effects of natural disasters such as fire. The players are also assessed based on their decision making with limited information. In the networked multiplayer mode, players will work together to resolve the crisis. However, due to information asymmetry, players don't know what others are planning. They have no visibility who will order which LSKs and when they will deliver those LSKs. This will result in a lot of wastage and unutilized resources. And this is one of the key learning points for the players. Communication is important for disaster relief. Understand the importance of a dashboard to know who, what, when, and where resources will be distributed and allocated will make things more efficient. And lastly, players are also managed to are assessed to manage finances and pull funds from other sources. They are
Thank
given
you,
limited
Mr.
budget.
Amin. Sorry,
Right.
but
Thank
before
you.
this up, applause for
Applause for our
finalists.
finalists.
Thank you, Mr. Amin, for the presentation. We are now entering our question and answer session. Judge and finalists, you have 4 minutes between the two of you for this session. And for this disaster relief game, we would like to invite Ms. Sayuri Kakimoto to share your question to the finalists. Ms. Sayuri?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
It was very impressive. The simulation game is very good strategy to train people while also enjoying the process. And my question to you is that I imagine that there will be a data of prices of goods and information on suppliers, etc., programmed in the game. But how will the different situation among different countries of ASEAN member states be assessed and applied to the game? For example, availability of suppliers, prices, etc., because they are quite different among different countries.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So to answer that question, firstly, the game takes place in a fictional scenario. So it's a fictional city and a fictional country. So we do not place it necessarily within ASEAN, but it applies to the context in ASEAN as well. So for example, we can have one region which focuses mainly on a certain, how would I say, the context of the country is different compared to another player's regional country that they are allocated with. So for example, if the prices are fictional as well, but then the actions made by the player, let's say for example in country A, will affect the prices in country A, whereas another player in country B would have the option to either procure from country A since they're already producing it, or they would have to start all over again from country B. So they will have to either choose spend more money and import from country A, or use less money but risk on the lead time and generation from country B itself locally. So it really depends on how they want to play the game, and the prices fluctuates based on the actions of each other. So it also kinds of like reinforces the idea that we are not alone. Whatever we do affects others as well, and without communication between partners in different countries, it's very hard to allocate resources effectively. Yeah, so that's one of the key learning areas of the game.
I see. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, now judges and audiences, you have 2 minutes to rate our finalists. Judges, you may use the online scoring form. For the audience, the voting poll is now appear in your screen. 2 minutes starts from now.
Sorry, I have a problem. I can't get into my scoring form.
okay.
We need some password or something. Could you send me the link again? Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you.
we'll send that.
Yeah.
Judges and audience, you have 1 minute more to fill the score. Reminder for judges, you have 5 components to score. And for audience, you can start from 1 to 5 based on your takeaways from this pitch. Can we check with Mr. Chong whether the form is now working?
Mr. Chong, if you have still an issue, please let us know.
Okay, 2 minutes up. Thank you, judges and audience, for the score. Now we're moving to our second finalist. For this one, Ilham, do you usually online shop?
I think I do online shopping a lot every day.
Do you track your delivery?
Exactly, that's what the most I really wanted. Where is the tracking of the status of my delivery package?
So that's interesting. Can you
Okay.
share the second finalist?
Okay, for the second finalist, we are pleased to present a FinTech Alliance Global, or VTAG, and with their ideas titled Trace 8. The team members are Mr. Ong Chekong and also Mr. Chia Hok Lai.
We give the floor to Mr. Ong Chikong. Mr. Ong, you may share your screen to show your presentation.
Thank you,
And-
host. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me share my screen.
Okay. Okay. Yes. You may want to put them into presentation mode.
Can you see?
Yes. But yes, now it's.
Thank you. So, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Ong, the count starts now. Please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the ASEAN humanitarian community. My name is CK. Thank you for having me today. The name of the innovation project which I am presenting today is called Trace 8. Trace 8 is essentially an online blockchain-backed marketplace that aims at addressing the challenges faced by crisis relief management today. In our humble opinion, the 3 key challenges that faces disaster relief operations are 1, efficiency, 2, accountability, and 3, transparency. Please allow me to delve deeper into each of these components in more details and how TraceAid can help to address them. Firstly, efficiency. Efficiency in a crisis management situation would mean the ability to mobilize the much needed relief items to ground zero in the shortest time possible. In our humble opinion, localization is perhaps the most effective solution. By localization, we meant the mobilization of relief items that are already available within the affected country itself. TraceAid allows vendors to register themselves and hence their inventory onto the platform. So at time of crisis, local relief team who has access to the registry can immediately zoom into the local supplier for relief item without having to call for help outside of the country. This will cut down the precious time wasted on making logistic arrangement tremendously. Also, by using TraceAid, it also solves the problem of storage, i.e., the relief items are now no longer stored in regional warehouses, but instead they are stored with the vendors at their own facilities. This will greatly relieve the need for AHA to expand its own storage facilities capability. Secondly, accountability. On top of tracing the movement of relief items across the supply chain, TraceAid also allows feedback and credit rating of vendors. So there's follow-up and accountability built into the system, minimizing the chances of hit and run vendor. Also, all the transactions within TraceAid are secured by blockchain technology. This means the data and information that are being transpired within the platform becomes immutable records that cannot be hacked or tampered with. Thirdly, transparency. As all the stakeholders within the platform have full visibility to the inventory, i.e., who has what and how much, where and at what price, etc., all parties within the TraceAid platform are able to transact with one another transparently in a safe and secure environment. This is how the system architect looks like. Essentially, we have buyers and sellers as the primary users on the platform. We have a separate track for inventory at the existing warehouses. The gaps outside of the warehouses will be filled up by external stakeholders whom we term as the marketplace. These elements are then integrated by the API layer, which in turn is supported by the blockchain layer. Together, they form TraceAid. In a nutshell, TraceAid has 6 key value propositions. They are: number 1, it allows inventory visibility. Number 2, it allows secure payment. Number 3, it allows localization. Number 4, it allows feedback and credit rating of vendors. Number 5, it allows fast mobilization of relief items. And number 6, it provides a one-stop platform for stakeholders to link up and transact in a safe and secure environment.
Okay, applause for our finalists.
Thank you. I've come to the end of my presentation and will be happy to answer any questions together with my Thank you.
Now, we give the floor to our judges to give their feedback and ask questions to the finalists. We may invite Ibu Adelina Kamal to ask the questions, but please, you have 1 minute for the question, Ibu, and Mr. Ong, you have 3 minutes to answer the question. Ibu, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. I have 2 questions. I have seen something like this in actually other sectors. So how do you convince us that your idea is original and can be applicable to the disaster management sector? Second, who are your target users within the blockchain system? Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Adiliana. Just to answer your first question, the platform is totally feasible because although it is original idea to group humanitarian aid onto a platform, it is not a new platform for e-commerce to take place. Essentially, what we are presenting here is actually a business place, a platform, online platform, whereby buyers and sellers of relief items can come together to meet and to know and have visibility, market visibility within the whole infrastructure. One of the key issues that we are facing now is that there is very little market visibility among the different players within the humanitarian space in general. Meaning to say, for example, if I am a member of a relief team and I'm looking for specific relief items, I will have to look up my inventory and maybe to call my associates or partners within my network to have a rough overview of whom I can get the relief items in the shortest possible time and maybe at the lowest cost. But with the online platform like this, we will have visibility at your fingertip, whereby you can compare the vendors and what they are offering, how much they have, and what are the prices that they are offering at the fingertip. And one of the good thing about the platform is that, like what I mentioned earlier on with regards to localization, one of the most effective way to address relief is actually to mobilize relief items that is already available within the country itself. So for relief teams who are looking for quick solutions to be delivered to ground zero, the platform will allow them to tap into vendors to look at the local suppliers immediately and provide the much needed relief items. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now judges and audience, you have 2 minutes to fill in the score. You may want to have your scoring form open. For audience, you can see the voting poll in your screen. 2 minutes starts now.
All right, time's up. And Carol, we are getting warm up now because our finalist is actually pitching with a very good innovations. I think I'm really wondering how the next finalist will be all about.
Yeah.
So, okay, we are now moving to our third finalist. So the next team is Fleet Help with their ideas titled Fleet for Emergency. So the team members are Mr. Alvin Kowin and also Mr. Muhammad Abdan Shakuro. Now, we are pleased to give the floor to Mr. Alvin. So, Mr. Kowin, you may share your screen to show your presentation.
Okay.
So, the 4-minute stopwatch is now showing on your screen while you are starting speaking.
Okay. Good afternoon, judges, and hello, everyone. My name is Abdan, and this is my friend Alvin. Today, we're going to present to you about our idea called Fleet for Emergency, an integrated platform to efficiently manage emergency fleet operations from Fleet Help. Okay, let's see from the global humanitarian landscape. It was not that about 200 million people get affected by disaster every year, and 80% of the funds spent in disaster response related to logistics and supply chain. Okay, why don't we go back in 2004 when tsunami hit Aceh in our own country? As we can see from the news, the Minister of Social Welfare of Indonesia acknowledged that there were a slowness in relief distribution caused by roadblocks, broken bridges, and the roads. And it also caused an increase of fuel prices up into 126% in less than a year. We also know there is a risk of safetiness of the drivers while delivering good items in Palos earthquake back in 2019. And next one is CIQ problems. Even in the emergency situation, custom still being a big obstacle. And all those problems align to the first problems of the problem statements on why transport cost becomes high, long delivery process, manual and silo, compliance IQ process, and safety, also security issues. So how these problems could be solved by Fleet for Emergency and how these platforms works. For that, I'll present to you Alvin.
Thank you, Abdan. Let's say we were in 2004 or 2018 when disaster occurs, and we want to know what's the best transporter to deliver relief items. For that, we provide you Fleet Calculator. It is a computer recommendation of transporter based on historic data and also the needs, such as the weights, volume, delivery time, and cost effectiveness. After having transporter recommendation from Fleet Calculator, we immediately contact the registered Fleet Supplier Network in our own database. By using Fleet Calculator and Fleet Supplier Network, we'll be able to solve high transport costs, manual and silo process in finding transporter. Next thing is slowness of CIQ approvals, which is about filling the same document according to the affected country. We tackle this by having a computer to do this repetitive task, and this can be used for CIQ paperless flow or even not. And on the ground, during the delivery, we give you 3 recommendations based on the ground's conditions such as the weather and roadblocks to cut off the long delivery process. And not forget to mention the driver security by having remote immobilizer, panic button, and other security features. Finally, all these activities of delivery, fuel, and also carbon calculator can be monitored and managed in the fleet management system. So all these 6 solutions are gathered in one platform, which we call the Fleet for Emergency, and applicable in all disaster phases. So where are we now? We already have one client use one of our solutions, the fleet management system, in the previous year. And we want this platform can be used from the small organizations unto regional organizations. So in Fleet for Emergency, we cover all disaster phases and we value the historic data by using them to solve the problems, from finding the best transporter, filling up safety documents, ground trip recommendations, safety and security, and manage and monitor all the activities of the drivers, fuel services, and even carbon expenses. By Fleet for Emergency, we can save and improve people's life through efficient, faster, and cost-effective fleet operations. As we know, technology makes things faster and more cost-effective, but it's not perfect. It requires you, and we're ready here to further collaboration with you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Applause for our finalists. Now, we may invite Director Rafi Alejandro to share your questions for the finalists. Director Rafi, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. First, I'd like to commend the team for developing their the split platform. This is a good platform that could define our understanding on fleet management and how we can improve our efficiency on the use of analytics. So it's worthy to note that you give emphasis on the how to improve our CIQ processes. This is one aspect that is very important when we do logistics, when we move logistics from one place to another. So I only have one question. What makes your product different from other management system? What makes it stand out?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So basically, our Fleet for Emergency covers all the disaster phases, and we want to cover from A to Z of the fleet operation in emergency. As we said before, from the initial requester, from the office until the delivery in the ground, we cover all these things. And also about the CIQ regulations, we give you solutions about automatic CIQ checklist, so we don't need to do this repetitive tasks. And by having computer to learn about all the regulation according to the affected country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good to hear. So I think your system covers
Yes.
covers a lot. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. A very good answer and elaboration. Thank you, Director Rafi. Thank you for your help. Now, judges and audience, you have 2 minutes to rate the finalists. A stopwatch will appear and you have 2 minutes to answer to fill in the score. Sorry, the 2 minutes starts now.
Forget to see in your screen, and the poll is there. Okay, 2 minutes is up, and thank you everyone for your vote. And also, I'm wondering what are actually the next finalists will be all about. Carol?
Yes. So our fourth finalist is Thammasat Business School and University Technology Malaysia. Their idea is a prototype performance evaluation system to support decision-making in humanitarian operations performance assessment. The team members are Professor Ruth Benomyong, Professor Kwan Yu Wong, Dr. Adnan Hassan, and Dr. Ali An Jomsho.
And representing the team today is Dr. Ali from the business school. Dr. Ali, you may share your screen to show your presentation. You have 4 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Can I start now?
Yes.
Sure. The 4 minutes starts now.
Just a minute.
Okay.
So good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to present my presentation about a prototype performance evaluation system to support decision-making in humanitarian operation. So if you look at the humanitarian operation, we all know that we are facing some high challenges in humanitarian operation about the complexity of field operation and many limited information technology infrastructure and several issues related to transparency and accountability in humanitarian operation. So evaluation and performance evaluation and monitoring tends to be very costly and highly resource dependent. On top of this, we see that evaluation are usually based on decision making and practitioner experience, and the type of data that we usually have in evaluation are qualitative and imprecise data, and usually based on linguistic and spoken data, which tends to be imprecise and subject to limited reliable numerical values. So this is really the main problem that we have focused in our application. Is a software to solve in humanitarian operation, where we had some design criteria related to flexibility, which we really wanted the tool to be flexible and could adopt new criteria, and also provide reliable evaluation data in a timely format, as well as being sustainable and require limited and minimum investment and maintenance for the software. And also we focus to provide rapid performance evaluation data and consider that evaluation are really costly and resource exhaustive, basically. So we have gone through several stages of design for our application, for our prototype. We passed through design and formulation stage, prototype development, and evaluation of that prototype. And we are really now at the scale-up stage where we are discussing our prototype with leading humanitarian organization in order to modify and adopt this software to their specific need. So here is our backbone of our performance evaluation software. It's get the user data in form of qualitative and spoken data, which tends to be a little bit vague or not really based on numerical values. And we use some engineering techniques to process that qualitative data and provide some assessment results, which are that assessment result are mapped into some engineering technique to provide results where we should focus for improving our operations, not only like some basic recommendation that we have done well in this area, we didn't done well in this area, but really we need to focus, okay, what are those areas that we really need to focus and put our effort in that. So we have gone through several evaluation cases through some of the leading humanitarian organizations based in Malaysia, and also they are operating internationally. Mercy Malaysia and UNHCR Kuala Lumpur were closely cooperated with our application and provided some input to the development of the app, and we managed to run for 2 disaster scenarios and evaluate.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. I'm sorry, your 4 minutes is up.
Yes.
Now applause for our finalists. We are now entering again the question and answer session. For this one, we would like to invite Colonel Wesley Ho from SCDF Singapore to share your question for Thammasat Business School and University of Technology Malaysia.
Thank you for the presentation. I thought it's a very good presentation. I fully agree that transparency and accountability is critical in humanitarian movements. And I also think that it's actually very useful to have a performance evaluation system. However, what is less clear to me in the presentation was how will the data be obtained? Because the right kind of data and obtaining in a timely manner is actually quite critical, without which the analysis or the decision-making process might not be optimum. So I would like for you to elaborate on 2 things. One is how would the data be obtained on a timely basis? And 2, how would you ensure that the data collected is accurate? Thanks.
Well, thank you. So what we really do during the data gathering and information retrieval is to have a representative of the evaluation team as well as a representative from the beneficiaries team in order to provide in a focus group session for ranking and evaluating the criteria that we have developed for the evaluation. So it could be based on what we say, a focus session discussion, interview session, and where we really focus on a set of performance indicators supported by several questions, which are those questions are derived from the monitoring and evaluation well-established frameworks. And we took those questions, we discussed those questions in a focus group session, and we consolidate those evaluation data and rank the performance based on the criteria that we have developed for evaluation. And once we get that evaluation data, we are able to map 19 performance indicators into a decision-making matrix, where it's really pinpoint which factors we should have focused or what we really did well in that area. In addition to this, what we really get is an overall performance score, which really helps us to know what we did in disaster A for case A and what we did on disaster B, case B, and how to evaluate these 2 indicators. So we have a single indicator, single performance evaluation indicator that tells us that the overall relief assistance was successful or not really based on this performance indicator.
Okay, thank you.
Applause. Now we will give 2 minutes for the scoring and polling. Audience, you can find the poll in your screen. Judges, you can use the scoring form to fill in the score. The 2 minutes starts now.
remember, there are 5 criteria that you can choose. For the audience, again, you can see in your screen. We can vote now.
For judges, you need to make sure that first they need to purpose, and then whether they're actually fill the component of innovativeness, sustainability, scalability, and then the last one is the social touch. Sorry, 20 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes is up. Thank you, judges and audience, for the score. Wow, we're already in our 5 finalists. We're moving fast, Ilham.
Yes, and talking about that, do you know the app that we can match from what we want to donate, for example?
Yes.
And also to match with the needs that we want to donate to.
Yeah, our next finalist will talk about app, right, Ilham?
Exactly, and this is our 5th finalist. Is coming from the ASEAN Institute of Management with their idea titled Padayon Donation Matching App. What is all about that? Because we would like to see the members of them. So the first are actually Cynthia Diaz, Carlos Centeno Jr., and also Mr. Louis Fedrigan, and also Mr. Albert Diaz.
Now we are pleased to give the floor to Miss Cynthia Diaz. Miss Cynthia, you may share your screen. Okay, now it's up. We'll put the stopwatch on the screen, and the 4 minutes will start as you speak, Miss Cynthia. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon. So I'm Cynthia Diaz. We're from the Padayon Donation Matching app. We are students from the Executive Masters in Disaster Risk and Crisis Management, or EMDRCM, of Asian Institute of Management. We also have with us our app developer, CloudTech. So to begin, the Padayon Donation Matching app aims to address 4 Helix problem statements, which you can see on your screen. In summary, basically what the Padayon Donation Matching app aims to address are how we can fulfill the humanitarian needs, how we can quickly identify them, and to whom they can be given. So the Padayon Donation Matching app, in a nutshell, aims to bridge donations of individuals and corporations to areas or local government units, or LGUs, that need it the most during times of disaster. So it has 4 key features. So 1, it provides easy and multiple options to donate. Second, it has donation options that are matched to a specific area. Third, it provides feedback for the donation receipt. And fourth is it provides full transparency on the donations that have been received and distributed. So through the Padayon Donation Matching app, one can donate in 3 easy steps. So first, a person can create an account. Second, the person chooses an affected area or LGU. So what we'll do here is the areas will already be pre-identified or predetermined based on historical data or published risk assessment reports. And because we have that data, we can already pre-identify their needs. That's why it will be easy to plug them here, what exactly their needs are. So in step 3, you choose what and how to donate. So for example, here you can choose to donate food packs, hygiene kits, sleeping mats, and more. So we also have mapped out the iteration process for this. So first is improvement. So we're planning that before we launch the app, we do some improvement first, like install a donation tracker to see the goal and how much more is needed, automatically suggest other areas should the chosen area has already reached its goal. Of course, we are also offering sign-ups for recipients or LGUs or those who want to be a part of the donation recipient database. Second is more on transparency. So we will give the option for recipients to upload photos and videos of the donations that they have received and how they distributed it for transparency. And we will also issue QR codes that they can scan to confirm that they have received the donated items. Iteration 3 is basically the DRRM phases. So we choose later on, we hope to feature projects that also targets preparedness, recovery, and mitigation. And lastly, for iteration 4, our notifications. So we would like to issue notifications or alerts on incoming or ongoing calamities and disasters and monitor events real time. So here are the keys to operationalize. So first are the affected areas. So we've already identified these highly vulnerable areas. Next key is to have corporate donors, to engage them, to include Padayon in their CSR program or tap companies with no established CSR department. Third are logistic partners, to establish partnerships with logistic companies to help handle the operations. And sustainability and scalability, so basically we will charge a minimal donation processing fee to cover operational expenses and corporate sponsorships. So we are already in the prototype stage. So we have working application that you can see here, has basic functionalities, ready for iteration and development, and already trial.
Okay, thank you, Miss, for that. So another round of applause for our finalists. For this idea, may we invite Mr. David Sokasing to share your questions to the finalists, please?
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for thank you so much for the the energy of the speech. It was quite interesting. I do have two questions actually. There's quite a lot of donation related platform, right? Some are very national, some are cross-border. How do you manage to capture some of these donors, right? Considering it's a highly competitive space. So how do you convince people to donate on your platform? And if you can actually share a bit more about the monetization, right? As a business, you need to monetize, which is a good thing because you need to sustain your operation. Can you share a bit more about this minimum fee you are charging, or how do you actually make money?
Okay. So first question on how do we actually compete in that donation space? What we are offering is basically legitimacy. So we plan to partner with LGUs. So we aim to get that endorsement from them. So in order to be able to get legitimacy, that we are a legitimate company or organization that gets donations, receive donations, actually gives them to the people or to the areas who need it the most. Because what we have noticed also that there are a lot of like ad hoc donation campaigns that are happening, but you don't really know who are the people behind these donation campaigns or if they really distribute the donated items. So what we are aiming for is really legitimacy through partnerships with LGUs. That's why it's very critical in our business model to have that partnership. To answer your next question on monetization, so this is actually based on real life experience during the Taal eruption that happened here in the Philippines last January 2020. There were a lot of companies who wanted to donate, but these companies don't have their own CSR departments. So they really just put up these CSR programs whenever there's like a disaster. So they're actually at a loss on where or how they can donate during this disaster. So we can tap those companies, we can approach those corporations without an established CSR department to to partner with us, to be their CSR arm. So that's how we can also like monetize the operations through their support or through their sponsorship. And second is probably like by adding like a very small like processing fee in the donations, because you tick off like options to donate, what items you donate. So we can just tuck in a small donation fee there, a small processing fee there. So basically just to keep the operations going.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, judges and audience.
Now we will give the time for our judges and audience to give their score. You have 2 minutes. The 2 minutes starts now.
Please vote now in front of you, the screen.
For audience, a reminder, you can vote from 1 to 5 stars. And for judges, you have 5 components to score. For purpose, innovativeness, scalability, sustainability, and social pitch.
All right, 2 minutes is up, and thank you, judges and audience. Now, please allow us to move to the next finalist.
Okay, Ilham. So this finalist will talk about, I think, board game. Let's give them the floor so they can explain more about their idea. Our 6th finalist is the TLIAP Go, also from the Logistics Institute Asia Pacific, National University of Singapore. And this team comes with their idea titled Think Log, Humanitarian Logistics Mode. The team members are Mr. Anand Lal Rajkumar, Mr. Zaba bin Abdul Rahim, and Dr. Robert De Souza.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, now we are pleased to give you the floor, Mr. Anand.
Thank you.
Can share the screen.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
It's up. We will have the stopwatch on the screen, and the stopwatch will start as you speak, Mr. Anand. The floor is yours.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. I'm bringing ThinkLog Humanitarian Logistics Mode. It is a board game which is now recently been transferred and digitized. The team that I'm having is, I'm from Design House Associates. I represent NUS, Mr. Zaba and Robert De Souza. We are pitching for an innovative idea. ThinkLog is a board game that was originally founded with the Temasek Foundation, NUS, and also the Urban Transport Management Program in Indonesia. It is actually originally a supply chain management board game, but it has 3 different modes. One is a basic mode, the other one is humanitarian logistics, and the last mile. It includes a digital companion application, and the objectives are all embedded in the gameplay. This is a view of the board game on the top left-hand corner. It has basically the 3 scenarios that I mentioned, which is the basic, humanitarian, and urban logistics game. Basically, players will use the order, pay, and deliver components. And apart from these 3 configurable gameplay scenarios, we are also able to customize it to the areas of application that you will want to need in any different country in ASEAN. So this is also a picture of what we used to do in the past, where it was a facilitated in-person game which we have now taken online, and we basically do a virtual game, which actually is similar to the board game in its own form. A quick video which I will screen through. This gives you a visual of what you used to do as a board game plus the digitized format, augmented reality. So we first build a warehouse using the resources that we have. Sorry. So after that, you order the equipment and the resources that you need to send to the beneficiaries. And following that, you transport it to the beneficiaries in the different disaster areas. We've had publications in the past, and we have also participated in conferences through Mr. D'Souza as well as the team with Zaba. And we are quite established in the area of this. We've also done gameplay sessions in various different areas. One of the most recent ones which is related to the disaster risk and humanitarian requirements are the disaster risk and reduction management course, which was held on 3rd of March in 2020. So we would like to try and answer your 4 problem statements that you've stated. One of them was how you can quickly identify the types of humanitarian logistics and send it to the beneficiaries. The game creates an awareness of planning and identifying the location of a warehouse so that you can actually distribute the items to the community as soon as possible in a time-efficient manner. Using a multi-criteria decision method, you use this to put the appropriate weightages and choose the fastest, most efficient route to deliver. So late deliveries will incur a penalty as well. This gives you the feedback, and failing to do so after the penalty token, and encourage players to always plan to have their distributions centers near as possible, but also taking into consideration the disaster zone where the warehouse can be destroyed. And to emphasize on the importance of having real-time information and the dashboard to increase transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Your 4 minutes is up. Wow, another brilliant idea. For this one, we would like to invite Mr. Le Quang Tuan from the Vietnam Disaster Management Authority to share your question. Mr. Tuan, the floor is yours.
Hello, it is really good game, and I think original is a board game with a very good idea for disaster response, right? My question is how we can solve the area of humanitarian logistics, and do you think the player need the background of humanitarian logistics to play this game? And a small question about you talked that you have some publication, and also the game also presented in some conference. So do you send that to any competition and get prize before this competition?
Thank you for the question. I hope I heard it correctly. But first question is, if I heard you correctly, it was actually, is this something that a person with no logistics background can understand, is it? Correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, it is possible because it's a very simple game. You only need a 5 to 10 minute debrief to actually start the game. However, if you want to make it efficient and applicable to the area of humanitarian logistics, it should be in a facilitated environment with different team players from different areas. Especially in ASEAN, you can actually consolidate different areas of expertise in different countries and different specific scenarios. So it transcends a lot of the language barriers that you might have because it is a game and it's also environmental friendly, plus it's easy to understand. As far as the second question is concerned, I'm not aware of any competition that we've done, but we have many facilitated sessions and thousands of very happy customers who have gone through and given very positive feedback on how well it has given them a very simulated, applied sense of the game. so that they can actually go out with very little risk to the market and actually apply this in their actual work in humanitarian aid. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Very small. Again, that's any challenges if you are asked to change the game for only solving the humanitarian logistic from the disaster response?
We definitely can change. We already have the module. We can even fine tune it even further to the specific country requirements, maybe just only earthquake, only typhoons or something like that. Yes, we can definitely. It's very scalable in the way it's been built, so we can easily change it to what is required.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tuan and Mr. Anand. Now, judges and audience, we will give you 2 minutes to give your score. For judges, please remember your judging score on the online, and also for the participant, you can see from your screen to start your vote. The 2 minutes starts from now.
For audience, a reminder that your vote will help support the finalists to win the Community's Choice Award or Diamond Award. So don't miss voting. You can score from 1 to 5.
The ideas, the innovations needs your vote. So please vote.
Okay, 2 minutes is up. Thank you for the score. We're almost there. We are pleased to call upon our 7th finalist.
Yes, but before that, we can see the space that Wendy is providing there. So I hope that it is enough for us to see again. So all right, our 7th finalist is the NRS Relief with their idea on multi-purpose tents. What is all about, Carol?
We are giving the floor to Miss Martina Aureli from NRS Relief. Ms. Aureli, you may share your screen to show your presentation.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Martina, and I work for NRS Relief, a manufacturing company of relief items and multipurpose shelters for the humanitarian sector. And today I'm going to present some of the latest innovations that we introduce in the industry, and they are a result of a direct collaboration model with the humanitarian organizations. So the main challenges behind the innovation of these 3 multipurpose tents were, first of all, to create tents with less environmental impact and a longer lifespan. So all the tents that I will present are made with materials that can be reused after distribution. They are all suitable for severe weather conditions. We also had the challenge to improve the internal comfort performance through a better ventilation, and a protection against heat and cold. And we also needed to ensure plenty of light entering the tents, while also ensuring still personal privacy, especially for women and children. The tents are all easy to be repaired, and also the packaging can be reusable. So the packaging also allows a wide range of transport and distribution methods. The first multipurpose tent is the GeoHome family tent that is part of the new generation of family tents and is a product development project carried out by IFRC, ICRC, and also UNHCR. The GeoHome that you can see in the slide is made from durable, hard-wearing, and lightweight polyethylene fabric, which is the same fabric that we use to make tarpaulins. And it has a high-grade aluminum frame. The tent has a self-standing design. That means the tent is not depending on any guide ropes for internal construction. In case of fire, the structure will not collapse when the anchor points are burned. So this will allow end users to safely exit the tent in case of fire. The tent is also fitted with a double layer cover that gives protection against direct sunlight, and it also allows active ventilation through the adjustable vents in the roof. The second product that I would like to introduce is the cradle tent. Again, an innovative design introduced by UNHRD lab. The challenge behind this innovation was to reduce waste from packaging of family tents distributing during the humanitarian emergencies. Indeed, the packaging of the family tent is designed to be reused as a cot for a cradle for babies. All the items included in the cradles are actually realized using waste material from our production of relief items. So polyester from blankets have been used to make teddy comforters. The last product is the high performance tents, or Huggy Pro tents, that is an innovation introduced by UNICEF that is using multipurpose tents for schools or child-friendly spaces. The high performance tent is capable of handling heavy weather conditions. It's a freestanding design, and a special attention was given to the ventilation and internal climate of the tents, as the tent will be used occupied by many end users. The tents are available in 24, 48, and 72 square meters, and they have vertical walls, which are a unique design for these tents because it allows full use of the complete floor space.
Okay, applause for our finalists. Wow, what an interesting innovation of relief items. For the question and answer, may we invite Mr. Benedict Chong from Temasek Foundation to set the questions for the finalists. But before that, we have 4 minutes, Mr. Chong and Mr. Aureli, for the question and answer. Mr. Chong, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Very exciting, the innovation I'm seeing that has sustainability, environmental sustainability considerations, dignity considerations. My question is, how do you get these to the ASEAN countries? What's your unique value proposition? Because there's so many producers of tents, so many manufacturers, and even in the ASEAN countries, and it's easier for the ASEAN countries to just tap on themselves. So if you can address that, it'll be helpful because this pitch is for ASEAN, the ASEAN community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong, for the question. At NRS Relief, we do provide logistic solution as well. So we do have the honor and the pleasure to already supply and serve ASEAN countries through our logistic distribution. So we do send all our multipurpose tents from Pakistan, where we manufacture our items. And some of our items are, of course, already stocked in the warehouse of the international organizations. And they are also, some of them stocked in the warehouses of some local distributors that we have in Asia, especially in Yangon, Myanmar, and Manila, Philippines. So through our logistics and supply chain management, we are able to reach global destinations, especially in Asia, because we are strategically based there. So this is how we, and also as you saw from the slides, all the multipurpose stands that are already existing products, so they are not ideas or prototypes, so they already been tested and they are already existing products, are studied and designed to be lightweight, so also logistically friendly. So all the multipurpose stands in case of emergency can be shipped and supplied by air, by sea, or by land, depending of course of the strategic final destination when the tents, where the tents are required.
Actually, you have a bit more time, but I'll leave the questions there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chong and Ms. Aurelie, for the Q&A. Now, we give the time to our judges and audience again for the scoring. You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes starts now.
Okay, the scoring time is up. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are moving to the last finalist, Carol. And then who are they, Carol?
All right. Our finalists will talk about the youth, the role of youth. The finalist is Plan International Asia Pacific Disaster Risk Management Team with their idea on the Youth Reporter Project. I'm pleased to present the team members are Mr. Angelo Melencio and Ms. Vanda Lengkong.
Okay, now we are pleased to give the floor to Mr. Angelo. So Mr. Angelo, you may share your screen to show your presentation now. Please let us know when you're ready. Mr. Angelo, are you with us?
Oh, yes, sorry for the connection problem. So I'm here now.
Okay.
Yep.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so yep. Good day, everyone. My name is Enan Melencio, and I'm here to talk about the Youth Reporter Project of Plan International. First, I would like to talk about our organization. So Plan International is a non-government organization that advances children's rights and equality for girls. So we are working in more than 75 countries across the world, but in the region, we are in 15 countries. Our team is the disaster risk management team in the region, and one of our core expertise is emergency preparedness and response. Part of it is logistics and emergencies. So what is the Youth Reporter Project? So basically, it's a project that supports children and young people to share their stories and priorities through content creation, creative media, videography, and broadcast media. So essentially, we are helping children and youth to become the voices of other children and youth. This started in 2014 as part of Plan International's Typhoon Haiyan response in the Philippines. and then was later on adopted in Nepal during the 2015 earthquake response. Since then, these groups have flourished and have continued supporting us in various crises, and which includes the current one, that is COVID-19 response. So obviously, this is a scale-up initiative. And then we also have other similar initiatives in Indonesia and Vietnam, where we have youth as accountability ambassadors. Why is it important for children's voices to be heard during crisis? As we all know, children are the hardest hit during disasters. But to give you a picture, here are some statistics. So 33 million children have been forcibly displaced at the end of 2019. This is global data. 1.6 billion children and young people have been affected by school closures due to COVID-19. And then 36 million children are projected to be living in monetary poor households. This is also due to COVID-19 and other crises, such as the Vietnam floods, for example, typhoons in Philippines, and the earthquake in Indonesia. So to add, children and young people feel that they are voiceless during the crisis, and they are afraid to express their views. So more specifically, in terms of logistics, they are unable to influence the quality of goods and services that the humanitarian sector is providing. So how are the youth reporter helping us? So the youth reporters help amplify children's voices as well as their communities. So through the skills, content creation, videography, and other broadcast media skills, they are able to report the issues and concerns of children and youth, as well as the communities during humanitarian response. So this also relates to the quality of materials we provide, the timeliness, and other factors. So this is a concrete example, the photos. So the photo above is a youth reporter using their media skills in reporting the quality of materials used in the school construction during Typhoon Haiyan response. And then also even the number of toilets being provided in the latrines. And then the photo below is the youth reporter interviewing our emergency response manager, asking to explain the issues and concerns that they have raised. So they are all holding us accountable to our promises and the way that we this in turn helps us improve our supply chain management. So as I've mentioned to you, this is already a scale up, and Plan Philippines have already produced 2 documents. So they have produced a toolkit and a training guide with the intention of promoting this across the Plan International Federation, and replicating this in other countries as well. And for ways forward, we would like support from the ASEAN to support youth reporters in action and share more issue-based and advocacy-driven stories. We want to continue promoting solutions-based mobile journalism for advocacy. And we want, through the help of the ASEAN, expand that strategic partnership of the Youth Reporter Project. Thank you very much.
Okay, applause for our last finalist, Plan International. For this last question and answer session, we would like to invite back to the screen Colonel Wesley Ho from SCDF Singapore to ask the question. Colonel Ho, the floor is yours.
Yep, thank you. First off, I want to say that I like the idea of using youth reporters to share stories and videos from children's voices, which might otherwise be unheard. But I'm just wondering, as much as I share the need to have the voices heard, would there also be a need to ensure that the system is not abused by individuals and only used to share useful information and advocate for the right causes? On the other hand, I also think that there's also a need to have a light touch on any form of censorship so that we can encourage this ground-up movement to grow further. So therefore, I'd like to hear your views on whether the stories will be screened and edited before it's published, and if yes, why, and if not, why not?
Thank you very much, Colonel Ho, for the question. So as part of the training that's being provided to the youth reporters on content creation is verifying the facts that they are able to find out in the communities. So the way that they do it is they go to the communities and interview the people, but they also do triangulation of data. So that's why they also ask the humanitarians and the government officials of what they think about the feedback being provided. Currently, Plan International is supporting them with the content that they are providing. So we are providing the review and editing of the materials that they produce. So not only they produce videos, but they also produce IEC materials, even poems, even radio broadcasts. So these things we are able to support them to ensure that we are verifying the facts and making sure that actions are being taken by both the government and the humanitarian sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Judge, and Mr. Melencio from Plan International.
Okay, now judges and audiences, this is your last vote. Now we would like to launch the vote right now for the audience in front of you in your Zoom, and then you can score there. And for the judges, please be reminded that your scoring online is actually now.
Thank you, judges and audience. That wraps up the last scoring.
Okay, so that, my friend, ladies and gentlemen, it concludes the final presentation of the top ideas for the iPITCH competition. Now, Carol, what would be the winner get if they win this competition?
Yes, Ilham. We have 4 categories of awards, and the first one is Opal Award to be presented to the winner of the ideation stage.
Okay, the first one is the Sapphire Award to be given to the winner of the prototype stage.
The third one is Ruby Award, which will be given to the winner of the scale-up stage.
Exactly, and also the Diamond Award to be given to the winner of the Community Choice Award. Now we'll give time for the judges to discuss the result. And I believe, Carol, the judges will be having a difficult time deciding, right?
I'm sure.
Because there are so many innovations, there are so many pitching today that is amazingly that we can see today. All right.
So yes, the best of luck for our 8 finalists. Before this, for audience and finalists, this is not the end. The result of the iPITCH winner will be presented later today at the closing ceremony, which will start at 3:45 p.m. Jakarta time.
Exactly, and we will use this exact same webinar room for the Helix closing ceremony. So the finalists and the audience, we will be having 30 minutes break. So please feel free to stay in the room, or we can log in later. But before that,
and judges, we would like to invite you to stay in the room for a while because we are going to take our group picture. So if you don't mind to put on your camera on, put your video on, we'll take a picture together. So we would like to see all the good pitches and also all you guys in one screen so we can take a photo together. So we call for pitch 6, TLIAP, go on your video.
Please turn on the video so we will see you and we can take a photo together.
Yes. We also ask Mr. Le Quang Tuan to put on your video. Yes.
Please sit with your comfortable positions, and we hope that we will take 2 pictures. So the first is a smile pictures and the second is one ASEAN, one response. Okay, we'll take the first photo. Please sit in your comfortable positions, and then I will count within 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, for the second photo, you can raise your hand like this to make a 1 ASEAN 1 response. Again, I will count from 3. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, see you then.
For judges, we will move to the discussion room for the discussion. Audience will see you later in the closing ceremony. Thank you.